Haven't played Metal Gear in a while, but I've learned a lot from Hitman, so I wanted to get back into it and see if I can do it any easier. For this one, I'm going to be using no actual guns, no tranks, anything like that, just the water pistol. I got the primary slots empty because I'm using the Infinite Heaven mod, so that may change some small things here and there. I'm also using ARM stuff, but I am trying to keep a budget of under 10k GMP for every mission, so you notice that with everything that I had there, it was still under 9k, so should be good there. This is the first mission, so it's pretty easy. However, you do start quite a ways away from where Miller actually is, so for the sake of speeding things up, I'm just going to accelerate that considerably while we get to 1AR, which is where he's actually held and not where we actually start. Just have to ride around an outpost. Now we get, I wasn't using buddies, but D-Horse is pretty okay, plus you're forced to use him on this mission. You're given him automatically, so...
You've reached 1 day.
I don't plan to be making use of D-Dog or Quiet or D-Walker just because they're kind of overpowered for what I'm doing, but I think it's reasonable to occasionally use D-Horse just to avoid having to run or bring a vehicle. So I'm using Noctocyanin here, which is a drug that lets you basically see people through walls. It's used most frequently on FOBs because on FOBs you can't bring buddies. And I'm trying just to kind of plot this out by marking as many people as possible before I actually go in there, and then keeping it active now and then just to make sure that I'm aware of where everybody is. But as I start actually taking care of people, it will be a little easier to keep track of where everyone is, and I'll show you why in a moment. Now obviously with no tranks or anything, I'm going to have to either avoid people, or in this case I'm actually going to take out the entire outpost, because to avoid the skulls at the end, I'm going to need to redirect the helicopter, and you can redirect it right in front of the town, but I do want to make sure that nobody's bothering Pequod when that happens, so I'll just capture the entire outpost with my robot fist and a water pistol, and some empty magazines. Should be no problem. So the Hand of Jehudi, its range depends on, or Jehudi, I don't know how you pronounce that, but its range depends on its upgrade level. The online upgrade gets you to level 3, which gives it a 30-meter range, which is pretty insane, but it's also like 22,500 rare metal or something just to deploy with it, so I'm using rank 2, which has a 20-meter range, and it's much cheaper. It's like 56k, something, 5,600. So what I'm doing basically is using it to grab people for CQC, which knocks them out, and then if I didn't have them in a chokehold to interrogate them, then I kick them awake to interrogate them. Basically, the reason I'm doing that is with CQC, usually, especially if you do the punch combo, people stay out for quite a while, but not knowing necessarily how long I'm planning to actually hang out around here, I'm going to want to hold them up, because when they're held up, they stay down indefinitely until an alert goes off, which I'm going for S rank, so if an alert goes off, I'd restart anyway. I also use the water pistol there. That's one of its features that's actually useful, is it can destroy electronics, but no one responded to it because it's the daytime, and in the daytime, no one cares if the lights go out because the lights aren't on to begin with. So there's two people over here, and I make a mistake as I'm coming up here. So what I'm doing is these two guys get into a conversation. So one guy is facing me, one guy is facing away. Now I want to kind of get them both to face away from me, so I'll throw a magazine to turn them around. Then I'm going to grab one of them with the hand and then grab the other. Now where I make the mistake here is you would think logically you'd want to grab the guy behind, like I'm doing here. But actually, the hand itself makes a sound or something at the point of the warp, so people will actually turn towards whoever got grabbed. So if you grab the guy in front, his friend will turn towards where he was, so I would have been able to get both of them without that risk of that alert there. I didn't get the alert because I managed to grab him in time. But it's unintuitive, but basically just imagine that people can't tell that someone teleported away. All they know is that something weird happened in the spot where they used to be, including weird noise. I don't know. It's not like a Fulton where people are like, hey, that guy just got kidnapped. Anyway, I'm also going to knock here, which you can knock on nothing because of the bionic arm, although the Diamond Dogs troopers can also knock by doing some weird thing where they break their wrist or something, so apparently you don't need a bionic arm to knock on nothing. The other thing about the hand is it can grab people like the stairs there. It just needs line of sight. If it turns orange, you can get them on with the hand because you're in range and it can grab them. However, if you wait a few seconds, it will also lock onto them. The lock isn't necessary, but you might miss. It doesn't seem that it consumes power if you miss, though, so it seems extremely powerful, even with just the rank 2 battery. Rank 3 it would have even more. See, okay, now there I grabbed a guy while another guy was walking straight towards him. Now you'll notice that he noticed something. He's pinging here, but if I just wait a second... Yep, he's just like, oh, a guy just disappeared in front of me. Oh well. So, that's kind of an advantage of the hand there, is its ability to just kind of grab somebody and then people will notice it, but assuming that you get things set up correctly, they won't care. Now you'll notice I missed a guy, and the reason why I missed him is because I didn't tag him when I was coming in. And the reason why he's tagged now is because I've been interrogating everyone that I knocked down and demanding that they tell me where other people are. If you do that, they'll mark other soldiers for you. The problem is they'll only mark them within a certain radius, but you can exploit that. Like if you knock a guy out, you can carry him somewhere where there's closer to be more enemies, and then interrogate him there. But I'm just doing this to, well, for fun, but I'm just doing this to knock the whole outpost out, so... I think I pretty much know where almost everyone is right now. I'm going to pop some more Nocto here. I missed one guy. You may have seen him just briefly in the corner. He's one of the guys at the guard posts on that side of the town. But he doesn't really move, so he's not going to be any trouble. He's not going to see any of the guys that are held up or anything like that. Speaking of which, I finally realized that I don't need to grab everybody, so I'm going to just hold this guy up the normal way. The problem with holdups, and they do work with the water pistol, the problem with holdups, though, is that they are not guaranteed to work. Sometimes you have to see them anyway. If their marker doesn't turn blue, it means that they're planning to knife you, and they're not actually surrendering, so you need to take them down. Other than that, it seems like it's mostly just mop up. There's guys here, but all the guys that are left are perimeter dudes, so they won't be a problem. You may have noticed that some of these guys are dropping stuff. That's a feature in Infinite Heaven. Enemies can actually drop things in this game, but they're programmed not to for whatever reason, so I've set that up to like about 1 in 3 guys will drop an item, which is usually useless. Like that guy just dropped a bait bottle, which I don't really care about animals right now, so that's not very useful. But sometimes they'll drop sleep grenades, stun grenades, only usually one, but I figured that would be helpful since, you know, I'm trying to do budget stuff, so if I pick up something neat OSP, then so be it. There's the last guy. I was wandering around like, I knew the outpost was supposed to be captured and it wasn't, so I knew there was somebody missing. Either that or someone had arrived on a patrol. But if they had, I would figure they would have seen the guys that I have held up on the road. Okay, now I've captured the outpost. So with everybody held up, as long as nobody else shows up in town, there will be no one to stop me, so we'll just go ahead and get Miller. Now, when you get Miller, you're supposed to go to the landing spot that Ocelot assigns and fight the skulls, but that can be completely avoided.
God.
So we get Kaz, and we're just going to wait for the helicopter to actually get called. I'm trying to avoid calling the helicopter as another quote-unquote budget-saving thing unless one's already called or unless I'm required to call one. So land extractions will be preferred when possible, but for this mission you are required to use a helicopter. But since one gets called in for you, it doesn't cost anything, so we get to have it for free. And I'll just wait for Pequod to fly over here from the completely stupid spot that Ocelot decided was the best extraction point, instead of right in front of the town.
If you place a marker on the map, you can keep track of where you want to go, even when the map's closed.
Now you can get away with this even if you don't knock everybody out, even if they see the helicopter. If they see Pequod, they'll start to attack it, but they won't necessarily spot you. They have to actually see you personally. So you could get away with that, but I like it a little cleaner than that, and I didn't want to take any hits just from random gunfire at the helicopter, since I was getting in on this side. You could just get in, or on the other side, or run to the other side, but the chopper does turn there, you see, so unless you're shuffling back and forth in the helicopter by pressing up and down over and over again, there's a small risk of getting seen, so I just figured I'd knock everybody out just for the fun of it. I'm not always going to do that, it's not really necessary. And that should be an S rank, which isn't really too difficult when you get all the bonuses. But still. Now I did have reflex off, that's why I got no reflex, because I didn't trigger it, even though it would have triggered at least once, but thankfully